So this is chapter meditation in Buddhism. Okay, we have studied different types of meditation. Meditation in Upanishads, meditation in Bhagavad Gita, in Hatha Yoga, in Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga, and now you'll study meditation in Buddhism. And as I said to you, that meditation is termed as dhyana in Sanskrit, dhyana.
Yeah.
And dhyana in Pali is called jhana, and in Japanese this is called Zen. So in Buddhism, or Buddha used to use this word, jhana, jhana. Not jhana, but jhan. We call that jhan. Okay, jhan.
Mm.
And this says a state of perfect equanimity and awareness. So jhan is the training of the mind. Jhan is
Chant,
training,
chant.
yeah, jhan or dhyan or meditation is the training of the mind to withdraw the mind from the automatic responses to sense impressions and leading to a state of perfect equanimity and awareness. In Pali, this is called upekha sati parisuddhi. Upekha sati parisuddhi. This is term, Pali term. This is the goal. This is the aim to reach. Dhyana may have been the core practice of pre-sectarian Buddhism in combination with several related practices which together lead to perfect mindfulness and detachment. Okay, perfect mindfulness and detachment, and are fully aligned with the practice of dhyana. So through dhyana, we reach the upekha sati parisuddhi, detachment. So I'll highlight only the most important thing, and rest of the content or the text you have to read later on. You have to study. Okay. Now I highlight this paragraph. Can you see this one? In Chan, Chinese pronunciation, and Zen, Japanese pronunciation, Dhyan is the central practice. It is ultimately based on Sravastivada meditation practices and has been transmitted since the beginning of the Common Era. Okay. Then there is description about Buddha learned meditation practices from two teachers. Okay, Uddaka Ramputta was the first one, and second was Alara Kalama. So he learned from these two teachers in the beginning. So Uddaka Ramaputta belonged to the pre-Buddhist tradition portrayed by Buddhist and Brahmanic sources, in which the philosophical formulations of the early Upanishads were accepted. Upanishads. So the first teacher, Uddaka Ramaputta, Uddaka Ramaputta was following Upanishad tradition, Upanishad method of meditation. And he taught the same thing to Buddha. Okay. And then his second teacher, Buddha's, yeah, so Upanishad says, Upanishad teaching about meditation is neither perception nor non-perception. They say the final commandment or final conclusion of Upanishad is neither perception nor non-perception was equated with the self. So here self says self is neither perceived or nor non-perceived. And Alara Kalama was the second teacher of Buddha. The goal of Alara Kalama was Brahmanical one. Okay, evidence in the Chandogya Upanishad. Chandogya Upanishad is and Taittiriya Upanishad. These are two Upanishads. Suggests that a different early Brahmanic philosophical tradition held the view that the unmanifest state of Brahman was a form of non-existence. Brahman here means divine. Brahman means divine. What people call God also. So Christian's God and this Brahman is different. Brahman means omnipresent or almighty, omniscient, omnipotent, that Brahman. And that the unmanifest state of Brahman was a form of non-existence. So in order to reach the prajna. Prajna means enlightenment or awareness of oneness with divine, called yoga. So yoga is awareness of oneness with divine. Okay, yoga means union. Yoga means union or oneness, that you and divine is are not two but one. So to reach there, that awareness, what you call prajna or enlightenment or awareness, one needs to enter into samadhi. Without entering into samadhi, we cannot experience that. And through meditation. So we practice meditation, and after meditation, we enter into samadhi. And samadhi is oneness of soul and divine. Okay. Like Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga, Buddha's Arya Ashtangic Marg, called Noble Eightfold Path, also has meditation at seventh step. Okay. If you remember, in Patanjali Yoga, meditation comes at seventh, and in Buddha's Ashtanga Eightfold Path, meditation also comes at seventh. Okay.
Mm.
First is right view, is in Sanskrit is called Samyak Drishti. Second is right mindedness, Samyak Samkalp. Third, right speech, Samyak Vak. Right action, Samyak Karmanta. Right livelihood, Samyak Ajivika. Right effort, Samyak Vyayam. Right mindfulness or meditation, Samyak Smriti. And right wholeness, Samyak Samadhi. So mindfulness or meditation, these two are similar. There's no difference between mindfulness and meditation. Okay. But next to meditation is samadhi. That is the goal of, that is the final step of samadhi. Okay. Do you have any question in this?
A little bit confusing, because if mindfulness equals meditation here,
Mhm.
so what about being beyond mind to reach samadhi?
Yes, yes. Actually, to reach samadhi, we need meditation. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And meditation, you will find that there are two types of meditation. One is called uh, meditation with forms, and other is meditation without forms. Okay. So the mindfulness is meditation with forms.
Mhm.
And when you advance in mindfulness, then you transcend that also. And you'll find that this is coming further. Okay.
Mhm.
So this,
Because
yeah,
now we only mindful meditation, right?
yeah, mindfulness, meditation, dhyana, jhana, these are similar. Okay. So these are eightfold paths, means eight parts, and these eight parts are divided into three categories. You can see three groups. Skandha. We call it skandha. Skandha. Skandha means groups. First and second comes under prajna skandha, wisdom. First and second comes under wisdom. Right view and right mindedness. These two are called wisdom. And third, fourth, and fifth, right speech, right action, right livelihood. Togetherly, they call sila, sila skandha. In we call morality
Mhm.
or ethics. That is ethics actually. Right speech, right action, and right livelihood is ethics, ethical practices.
Mhm.
And sixth, seventh, and eighth comes under samadhi, skandha, or meditation part. Sixth, right effort. Seventh, right mindfulness, and right oneness. Is these three come under samadhi skandha. So prajna, sila, and samadhi. There are three skandhas. And then we have explained what is right view, samyak drishti. Okay. So right view is when you understand what is wholesome and what is unwholesome karma, and the root of wholesome karma and root of unwholesome karma. Okay, that is called right understanding. Right understanding is also to understand suffering. When you understand suffering, that means you have right understanding. To understand the origin of suffering, to understand the extinction of suffering, to understand the path that leads to the extinction of suffering. This is called right understanding. So there are fourfold understanding. Okay, fourfold understanding. First is suffering. Second, origin of suffering. Second, the extinction of suffering. Third, the extinction of suffering. And fourth, the path that leads to the extinction of suffering. This is right understanding. And second type of understanding is when you understand the root of wholesome karma and root of unwholesome karma. This is also right understanding. Then right mindedness. Right mindedness is also of two kinds, mundane and ultra mundane. You know, mundane and ultra mundane. Mundane is this earthly or this worldly, ultra mundane is spiritual. There are two types of right mindedness. So, thoughts free from lust, ill will, and cruelty is called mundane right mindedness. And that provides worldly fruits and brings good results. And whatsoever there is of thinking, considering, reasoning, thought, ratiocination, application of the mind, being holy, being turned away from the world, and conjoined with the holy path being pursued, these verbal operations of the mind are called ultra mundane right mindedness, which is not of the world but is ultra mundane and conjoined with the paths. So, the meaning of this part is when your goal is transcendental or spiritual, that is called ultra mundane, and when your goal is this worldly fruits, worldly results, that is mundane right mindedness. Samyak Sankalp. Right speech. Right speech is you speak the same thing, what is right. Okay. So Buddha says here, abstaining from lying, tale bearing, harsh language, and vain talk is right speech. Okay. So you abstain from lying. You do not lie. You do not tale bear. Tale bearing means, what you hear, someone hears, they that is taught to others. Rumors, you call rumor,
Mhm.
that is tale bearings. Or creating nuisance is also called tale bearing. Okay. Harsh language, when we speak harsh, that is against right speech. So abstaining from these things is right speech. And vain talk, you don't talk vainly. You talk meaningful, you talk with purpose, we talk with point, okay, and that is called right speech. And while right speaking, he avoids vain talk, abstains from it. He speaks at the right time in accordance with the facts. He speaks what is useful. He speaks about the law and the discipline. His speech is like a treasure at the right moment, accompanied by arguments, moderate and full of sense. This is called right speech. Right action is samyak karma. Abstaining from killing, stealing, and unlawful sexual intercourse is called right action. And for monastics, means people who are monks, for monks, they abstain from sensual misconduct, means strict celibacy states. While for lay Buddhists, this prohibits adultery as well as other forms of sensual misconduct. So this is for monks, they do not have any kind of sex. But for lay people, means the householders, that is limited. Okay, they have to just observe, they have to avoid adultery, and that is called right action. Right livelihood is samyak ajivika, means when the noble disciple avoid a wrong way of living, gets his livelihood by a right way of living. This is called right living. And there is a book in Buddhism called Anguttar Nikaya. Anguttar Nikaya. So in this book, third chapter, 208 Sutra says that the right livelihood does not trade in weapons, living beings, meat, alcoholic drink, or poison. So this is called right livelihood. So anyone's livelihood, if they are not making the livelihood through weapons, trading of living beings, trading of meat, trading of alcohol or poison, okay, like slaughtering, okay, all these things. So if you avoid this thing and if you are earning money through accept all these things, that means you are practicing right livelihood, right effort. There are fourfold right efforts, four great right effort. The effort to avoid evil, the effort to overcome evil, the effort to develop virtues, and the effort to maintain virtues. So the highlighted is avoid and overcome evil. Avoid and overcome evil path, evil things. At the same time, you develop and maintain. At one hand, you develop, and other hand, you maintain the virtues, evil and virtues. You just root out the evil and you develop and maintain the virtues. This is called right effort. So right effort comes under meditation or samadhi. So when you practice meditation, then whatever negative things appear in you, you overcome them, first thing. And you avoid the negative things. And you develop the virtues is mental peace, mental self-control, and mental focus. All these are virtues you develop and maintain. Right mindfulness, right mindfulness. What you learn mindfulness in detail in that chapter. So he talks about the mindfulness. Samyak Smriti. This is called bare attention. Bare attention. So your attention is absolutely bare, non-judgmental. Nothing is added on your mind. Okay, and never be absent-minded. Being conscious of what you are doing. Okay, so this is called bare attention, right-mindedness. Yeah, so here you can see first it repeatedly yokes the yogi to the present moment. Lessening identification with mentally fabricated scenarios involving past and future. You avoid past, you avoid future, you remain in the present moment. Second, he keeps attention in the neighborhood of the body, an arena in which any reactivity in the form of afflictive volitions, clinging, will usually be reflected. So first is you are in the present moment, and second thing, you are not clinging to anything. Not clinging.
Non-attachment.
Yeah, non-attachment, correct. So if you find anything in the present moment interesting, you do not attach, you do not carry, you do not grasp that. You just let that go. Okay. According to Frau Wallner, is an author, is a philosopher, was a philosopher. Mindfulness was a means to prevent the arising of craving, which resulted simply from contact between the senses and their objects. According to Frau Wallner, this may have been the Buddha's original idea. According to Trainer, mindfulness aids one not to crave and cling to any transitory state or thing by complete and constant awareness of phenomena as impermanent, suffering, and without self. So here he says, complete and constant awareness. Complete and constant awareness of phenomena as impermanent, suffering, and without self. So whatever is happening in the present moment, you have to be aware constantly that every phenomenon is impermanent, every phenomenon is suffering, And every phenomenon is without self, means fleeting, transient. Okay. So there is sutra in Buddhism called Satipatthana Sutta, means mindfulness sutra techniques, describes the contemplation of four domains, namely body, feelings, mind, and phenomena. Okay. So in this sutra, Buddha has taught that you have to practice the awareness of body, awareness of feelings, mind, and phenomena. And every of these four domains is impermanent, suffering, and without self. Okay. So pay attention and contemplation on the observed phenomena as dukkha, anatta, and anicca. Dukkha, anatta, and anicca. Anicca means anitya. Anitya. Dukh means suffering. Anatta means without self. Anicca means impermanent. So this is called bare attention. According to Satipatthana Sutta, this is very popular in Buddhism, and every mindfulness teacher, mindfulness practitioner, they study Satipatthana Sutta. Sati means mindfulness, and Patana means the practices. Sati means mindfulness, and Patana means practices. So mindfulness practice sutra. So this is absolutely about mindfulness, this text. And in this sutra, Buddha has taught fourfold mindfulness. Kaya anupassana, mindfulness of body. Chitta anupassana, mindfulness of mind. Vedana anupassana, mindfulness of feelings. Dhamma anupassana, mindfulness of phenomena. Right concentration. So that was seventh, right mindfulness. And eighth is right concentration or samyak samadhi. Samadhi. Samadhi means, samadhi comes in yoga also, right? Samadhi. So yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. Samadhi is, as per Patanjali, absorption, and as per Buddha, samadhi derives from the root samadhi. Okay, samadhi, which means to be in oneness. Adhi means to be, and sam means oneness. So it is often translated as concentration or unification of mind. In the early Buddhist texts, samadhi is also associated with the term samatha. Samatha is calm abiding. In the sutra, samadhi is defined as one pointedness of mind. Chit ekagata is samadhi. Are you understanding?
Mm-hmm.
So now come to this point. Olga, you're telling that mindfulness and samadhi, right?
Yes.
So here you will see that the jhana or meditation or mindfulness, you can say, it has three categories. First is Rupa Jhan, meditation with forms. Rupa Jhan, meditation without forms. And third is Nirodha Samapatti, means cessation of perception, feelings, and consciousness. That is the ultimate samadhi or ultimate state of jhana. Okay. Here you can see a table. This is Rupa Jhana. There are four levels, four steps. First jhan, second jhan, third jhan, and fourth jhan. In first jhan, which is born of detachment, first jhan is born of detachment. And in first jhan, you'll find five elements. Vitark is applied thinking, vichar, sustained thinking, priti, rapture, sukh, happiness, ekagrata, one-pointedness. Okay. So this is, see, all these jhanas come under Rup Jhana, meditation with forms. Second jhana, In second jhana, after fading away of vitark and vichar, in second jhana, vitark and vichar are faded, they disappear. Means thinking process is disappear. And there remains three things: rapture, happiness, one-pointedness. And in third jhana, priti is disappeared. There remains only two things: happiness and one-pointedness. And in fourth jhana, after giving up of pleasure and pain, and through disappearance of previous joy and grief, purified by equanimity and attentiveness, you enter into transcendental state of mind. And fourth jhana. But yet, after fourth jhana, there are four more meditation, and they come under arup jhana. Arup means without forms. Rup means forms. This is Rup jhana. Rup means forms, and arup means without forms. And now you'll see fifth jhana. You enter into sphere of infinite space. In Pali, this is called Akas Ananchayatan, means infinite space. Akas means space. You enter into infinite space. Sixth jhana is sphere of infinite consciousness. So when you enter into this sphere, okay, your consciousness becomes infinitely pervasive. Infinitely pervasive. It's
Unmani. Like unmani.
Unmani. Yes, yes. Right. So actually, all these are states of unmani. In fifth stage, your mind enters into infinite space. And in sixth, that goes more beyond, means your mind becomes infinite. And seventh is sphere of infinite nothingness. Your mind also disappears here. Infinite nothingness. There is nothing. In this sphere, formless beings dwell contemplating upon the thought that there is nothing. Everything is just without forms. Eighth jhana is the last stage of meditation. This is called sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. You know, the Udak Ramputta has taught this thing to Buddha. Neither perception nor non-perception. This is Upanishadic teaching. In Upanishad, we call this Neti Neti. Naiti Neti in Upanishad. Okay? And third, Nirodha Samapatti. Nirodha Samapatti is the ultimate meditation, ultimate state of meditation. See, I am explaining you different levels of meditation, and you can see which level you enter into deep meditation. Okay? So that is the purpose, to learn that during meditation you may reach in any of the levels. You have to see at which level you are during meditation. And this is the ultimate, Nirodha Samapatti. Beyond the dimension of neither perception nor non-perception lies a state called Nirodha Samapatti, also called Sanvediyata Nirodha in Pali. Okay? Cessation of perception, feelings, and consciousness. It is called Sanvedayita Nirodha. Is a temporary suspension of all consciousness and mental activity following immediately upon the semi-conscious state called sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. Eighth jhana. Okay. The absolutely necessary preconditions to its attainment are said to be perfect mastery of all the eight absorptions, as well as the previous attainment of anagami or arhantship, Ariyapugal. Only in commentarial and scholarly literature, this is sometimes called the ninth jhana. So Nirodha Samapatti is ninth jhana. You have learned eighth jhana, okay, and ninth lies next to eighth, ninth. As you can see, the attainment of Nirodha Samapatti is the highest meditational state possible in Theravada Buddhism. Those in this state are to all appearances dead, for it is the extinction of all feeling and perception. It is seen as the actual realization of Nibbana or yoga in this life. So Nibbana or yoga is similar. According to Visuddhi Mark, this is a scripture. By means of samatha and insight, vipassana, one has to pass through all the eight absorption, one after other, up to the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. And then one has to bring this state to an end. So you have to bring that stage also to an end. And that is the ninth, called Nirodh Samapatti. Nirodh Samapatti. And when you reach there, that state, that is called Anagami. Anagami. Anagami ship means Arhat, someone who will never return. Anagami means never returning. So by reaching there, you reach that state from where you will never return. That is the ultimate state. So that was meditation as per Buddha. And Zen meditation is also a part of Buddha's meditation technique. Okay, Zen meditation. You have learned that Zen, the word Zen is Japanese, and the same thing is called Chan in Chinese, and Dhyana in Sanskrit. Okay, in Korea it's called Xian in Korean. Vietnam is called as Thien. So Zen is Japanese term, and this is used for the principle of Dhyana in Buddhism. So Zen is a school of Mahayana Buddhism. School of Mahayana Buddhism. This is normally practiced in Japan, now the worldwide. Okay. So this Zen Buddhism, Zen tradition was originated in China during Tang dynasty by Bodhidharma, 5th and 6th century. Okay. So Chinese Chan Buddhism developed into various other schools, including many Japanese Zen schools. So Zen is termed by given by Japanese monk or Japanese master. So there was a master of Japan who went to China and he learned Chan. He learned Chan there, and when he returned to Japan, he gave this name Zen in Japanese. So Chan Buddhism spread from China south to Vietnam to become Vietnamese Thien, then northeast to Korea become Sion Buddhism, and east to Japan to become Japanese Zen. So this is Chan only, which traveled to Japan, became Zen. And Zen emphasizes rigorous self-restraint, meditation practice, insight into the nature of mind. Okay. In Chinese, this is called Jiang Jing. In Chinese, it's called Jiang Jing. In Japanese, called Kensho. Kensho is the perceiving the true nature. It's called Kensho in Japanese. Perceiving the true nature and nature of things and the personal expression of the insight in daily life, especially for the benefits of others. Okay. Direct understanding through spiritual practice and interaction with an accomplished teacher or master. So this doctrine and this philosophy emphasizes on direct understanding through spiritual practice and interaction with an accomplished teacher or master. And the teachings of Zen include various sources of Mahayana thought, especially Yogachar, Tathagat Garbh Sutras, the Lankavatar Sutra, and the Huyan school. They emphasize on Buddha nature, totality, and the Bodhisattva idea. The Prajna Paramita literature as well as Madhyamaka thought have also been influential in the shaping of the epophatic and sometimes iconoclastic nature of Jain rhetoric. So Jain meditation is practiced like this in lotus posture and hands in this way. Okay, lotus posture, hands in this way, and you absorb yourself into meditation. So first technique is Zazen. Okay, Zazen is actually what you practice Trataka. Trataka is Zazen. Do you remember Trataka? When you fix your eyes on the wall, that is called Trataka. And the same thing is called Zazen in Japanese. Ja means sitting, Zen means meditation, sitting meditation. Sitting meditation. And this is the method. You sit in a posture. Okay. Posture. Hold your legs and hands. Erect but settle spine. The hands are folded together into simple mudra over the belly. Okay. And eyelids are half lowered, the eyes being neither fully open nor shut, so that practitioner is neither distracted by nor turning away from the internal external stimuli. So you are neither sleeping nor waking. Okay. Your eyes remain half open, half closed. Full lotus or half lotus or cross leg posture, or using bench or jafu. You can using jafu or bench. So this is Zazen. So Zazen is taught in this three way: concentration, cone introspection, and shikantaja, just sitting. You sit there and you observe the things. You do not do anything. You just sit and observe. Or sometimes you can introspect the cone. Cone means sutra. Cone practice is associated with Rinzai school and Shikantaja with Soto school. But many Zen communities use both methods depending on teacher and students. Cone or Shikantaja. So concentration is you can concentrate mantra also. Cone introspection. Cones are like proverbs. They mated on that cone. The example, like two hands clap and there is a sound. What is the sound of one hand? This is a kind of cone. Okay. Two hands clap and there is a sound. What is the sound of one hand? So you create a sound with clapping. But what about one hand? You think about that. So basically, there is no meaning of cone. You just keep thinking, and you don't find the answer. You are fed up, and you stop that. And you enter into meditation. This is called cone. Like, what is your original face before your mother and father were born? You start thinking on that. You find nothing, answer. You stop and you enter into meditation. So the purpose of cone is just getting fed up and enter into meditation. Shikantaja. You do not use anything. Okay. You remain just in the present moment, aware of and observing what passes through your mind and around you. So Dogen was a master sage in his Shobo Genjo, sitting fixedly, think of not thinking. How do you think of not thinking? Not thinking, this is the art of Zazen. So this is actually Zen meditation. So in Zen meditation, you simply sit and you concentrate, or you introspect on cone, or you just sit silently, observing the present moment. It's called Zen, Zazen. This is Zen meditation technique. So that was for today. So we wanted to cover meditation in Buddhism and meditation, Zen meditation,